It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Prime Ticket presents the Dodgers as they take on the Houston Astros. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Sunday to you, and especially happy Father's Day to whom that applies. The Dodgers and the Astros concluding a 3-game series. The Astros have won the first 2, so we had to look it up. Last time the Astros swept the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium was 2008. But that could be on the heels of having been swept by Cincinnati for the first time since 2004. So let's talk personnel. Rod Barajas sprained his right ankle last night going after a wild pitch. They brought up A.J. Ellis to back up Deanna Navarro. They're also strengthening the bullpen. They got Kenley Jansen last night back in action, and today Hung-Chi Kuo returns with Ramon Troncoso being sent down. Meanwhile, Hiroki Kuroda trying to stop the bleeding. He is 5-8 against Bud Norris as the Astros trying to add to a Dodger 5-game losing streak. We'll get to the ball game. We'll have it all coming up for you right after this.
Your birthday this year at San Manuel Indian Bingo and Casino and receive a special birthday package. Visit sanmanuel.com for details. You must be 21 to enter the casino. Welcome back and happy Father's Day, everybody. Dodgers baseball. It's the Houston Astros, Bud Norris and Hiroki Kuroda for your Los Angeles Dodgers. As we get to our Hyundai keys to the game, I think avoid the big inning, Steve, has to be crucial. It's really hurt the team the last 3 days.
Yeah, when you look at the way games are won and lost over the course of a season in baseball, it's not when you throw up 1 run here and 1 run there and don't score another inning. It's always the big inning, and unfortunately, last 3 nights, the big inning has come against the Dodgers. Those are insurmountable innings when you're throwing up 4 and 5 spots against the Dodgers the way they're scoring right now. They have to turn that around and get some of those for themselves.
Well, this homestand certainly was supposed to be positive, 12 games in a row, but they've lost the first 5. What are your short-term and long-term goals for the rest of this homestand?
Well, Don Mattingly has already come out publicly and said, look, we're putting on a push to go 15-5 before the All-Star break. That makes you a 500 team. So that's a short-term, lofty goal that they're looking for to try to win consistently before the break. That gets you to 500, and then long-term for the second half of the season, that drags you back into the race a little bit. If you can go 15-5, you're starting to prove that you're a better team, and that gives everybody a better feeling moving forward.
Well, Dodgers have yet to win more than 3 games in a row all season, but a game at a time, try to stay positive. Again, happy Father's Day. Enjoy the game. We'll see you afterwards.
Hi, I'm Lauren, this is Mady, and that's Bailey, George, and Dana. And I want to wish my dad, Casey, a happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, Adam. Happy Father's Day.
Detail. By 76 Gasoline. We're on the driver's side. By CarMax. Now more than ever, the smart choice is CarMax. And by AT&T. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Sunday to you, wherever you may be, and happy Father's Day. The Dodgers and the Astros closing up a 3-game series, and a very touching moment before the game, because the Dodgers arranged for a particular thing to remember as far as Father's Day is concerned. And as the Dodgers take the field, earlier somebody else took the field, and the crowd got a big kick out of it. We will not rush into it unless we know that the videotape is ready. And if it is, here we go. On the left, Tom Gordon. On the right, Tony Gwynn. Catching the first pitch would be Tom Gordon's son, D, and Tony's son, Tony Jr. So a great way for a couple of great veterans, and then a big hug on this Father's Day. A great idea for the Dodger promotional staff to come up with that one. Now, let's take a look at the high-flying Astros with a reminder. In today's game, we're participating in the Home Run Challenge. Every home run in the game raises $22,000 for prostate cancer research. You can make a pledge. Call 800-798-CURE or go online, www.pcf.org. Okay, we have that out of the way, including looking at Tom, Gordon, and Dee, and Tony and Junior. Now let's get to the action itself. For the Astros, Michael Bourne in center field, Jason Bourgeois in right, Jeff Keppinger at second, and Carlos Lee in left field. Brett Wallace at first, Chris Johnson at third, Clint Barmas at short, Carlos Corporon behind the plate, and Bud Norris on the mound. On the mound for the Dodgers, Hiroki Kuroda with a record of 5-8. And for Kuroda to go to the mound, he has two daughters. He's from Japan, as you know, originally born in Osaka. And so Father's Day means a great deal to Hiroki. With an ERA of 3.3, something else that would make a great deal for him would be a victory today. He's lost 5 in a row. He has a good shot against a National Central team. He is not only 2-0 lifetime against Houston, he is 14-6 against the Central Division. So Kuroda getting ready. The Astros have not only won this series, they won 2 out of 3 in Houston, and they won the first 2 games here. They have a chance to sweep, and for Brad Mills to show you what would happen if they swept. It would give them 5 wins against the Dodgers this year. The last time the Astros won 5 games against the Dodgers was back in 1999. So Brad, who managed 11 years in the minors, including the Las Vegas club in the Dodger organization, now trying to come back and really give them a bad time. Michael Bourne, a speedster, a center fielder, up there at the plate, left-hand batter, fouls the first pitch back, and the count 0-1. Bourne hitting .282, 1 home run, 23 runs batted in, and you have rabbits up at the top of the lineup when you have Bourne and Bourgeois. Here's the strike 1 pitch on the way. Michael Bourne looks, and it's off the plate. We say rabbits. Bourgeois has stolen 17 out of 19. He's on deck. And Bourne has stolen 29 out of 32. So that's 46-5 for these two. The 1-1 pitch on the way is swung on, lifted to straightaway center, drifting a little toward left center. And Matt Kemp goes over and makes the catch. 1 away. Let's set the Dodgers with the leather. Thames, Kemp, and Ethier in the outfield, with Blake, Gordon, Uribe, and Loney on the infield. And the battery would be Diana Navarro and Hiroki Kuroda. A reminder of a note we gave you earlier. Rod Barajas sprained his ankle. He's on the DL. Dodgers called up A.J. Ellis to back up Navarro. So here now is Jason Bourgeois, and he takes the strike, and the count 0-1. Bourgeois hasn't played a lot, but he's hitting .367, 9 runs batted in. Right-hand hitter, and Kuroda ready and deals, in the fastball on the inside corner, strike 2. So Hiroki Kuroda trying to snap a personal 5-game losing streak and snap a Dodger 5-game losing streak. Slider down and away. 1-2 the count. Despite the fact it's somewhat overcast, it's very comfortable in the ballpark. 67 degrees. 1-2 the count. Bourgeois with Jeff Keppinger on deck, and the 1-2 pitch on the way, low and away, and the count runs 2 balls and 2 strikes. For the Dodgers, of course, trying to avoid being swept for the 2nd consecutive series. Here's the 2-2 pitch coming up. Kuroda delivers, and a check swing foul into the stand. Of course, it's funny, if you look closely at history, sometimes you can be inspired. Let's say the Dodgers lose. That means they will have been swept in consecutive series since 2006. But as they say on Broadway, how'd you come out? Well, the 2006 club captured the wild card. The 2-2 pitch is low, ball 3. 3-2 the count to Bourgeois with Jeff Keppinger on deck. The Astros doing pretty well against the Western Division. They're 2 games under 500. The Dodgers are struggling against the Central. They're 6 games under. Now the 3-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and missed, and down goes Bourgeois. So the 2 Rabbits have been sent back empty-handed as Bourne fly to center. Bourgeois strikes out, and now Jeff Keppinger checking in at the plate. Keppinger last night had 2 singles. In the first game of the series, he had a double, and he's hitting .301 with a home run and 9 runs batted in. Keppinger's only played 21 games, so he's had his problems. Hits a comebacker. Kuroda has it, flips it over to first, and it's a 1-2-3 first inning for Hiroki. No runs, no hits, nobody left. And at the end of half an inning, the Astros nothing, Dodgers coming. Retires the Astros in order, striking out 1. Now we'll take a look at the Dodger lineup. D. Gordon at short. Juan Uribe has moved up to the number 2 slot. And then you have Andre Ethier and Matt Kemp, followed by James Loney. Casey Blake is back in the lineup, but he's back to playing third instead of first. Marcus Thames is in left field. Deanna Navarro behind the plate. Hiroki Kuroda on the mound. On the mound for the Houston Astros is Bud Norris. His first name is David, but nobody calls him David. It's Bud. He's from Northern California, went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And if you wonder about the nickname Bud, what we have been told is he was following a group of his family adults into a restaurant, and at 3 years old, he ordered a beer. And everybody got a big chuckle, but they nicknamed him Bud, and it's been Bud ever since. He's an even 6, 220. He's only 26 years old. Working now on D. Gordon, and the right-hander's fastball is low. Norris, basically a power pitcher. He has struck out 90. And a couple of things about him. He's allowed 7 of the 10 home runs to left-handed batters, and he's picked off 3 runners. As Gordon takes high, ball 3. So 3-0 the count. Norris has been better at home than on the road. And the 3-0 pitch, and that finds the mark. Bud Norris is 3-2 at home, 1-3 on the road. And his earned run average is about 3 times as much on the road. 3-1 pitch, another look, another strike, and the count 3-2. Norris, again, in studying the numbers, is a far better pitcher with the bases empty. 3-2 is foul back. The contrast, with the bases empty, hitters are batting .213. With runners in scoring position, .320. With runners in scoring position and 2 out, .324. Now the 3-2 pitch, that's fouled away, so D is still there, fouling him off. 7 pitches so far. In comparing left and right against Norris, left-hand batters have hit, as we told you, 7 home runs. They have a .304 average. Right-hand hitters just 167. Ground ball to the right side. Keppinger is on it, and that'll be that for D. Gordon as he grounds out, second to first. 1 away, and the batter will be Juan Uribe.
Number 5, Juan Uribe.
In looking at Bud Norris against the Dodgers, Andre Ethier, who's on deck, is 2 for 2 against him with a home run. Matt Kemp is 3 for 5 with a home run against him. So Norris working now on Uribe. Juan batting .210 and takes a strike, and the count 0-1. One of the things that Norris has made life miserable for himself as he comes back fastball low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Hits allowed on a no ball 2 strike count. He's given up 13 hits. That's a lot when you have the count your way. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Uribe check swing, but it's going to cost him a strike, and the count 1-2. Bottom of the first inning, 1 out, no score on Father's Day. Norris turns ready in the 1-2 pitch, and Uribe hits it in the air to right field. Coming in over to his left a bit is Bourgeois to make the catch. And we have 2 down in the first inning, and Andre Ethier coming up.
16, Andre Ethier.
Andre Ethier in last night's game had a double and a single. The double came in the first inning, and the single came in his last at bat. We salute his dad, Byron, as Andre checks in. Big numbers, hitting .346 against right-handers, about .240 against left. So Norris looks in to get a sign, working from the first base side of the rubber, and the first pitch fouled back, and the count 0-1. 2 out in the first inning, no score. Dodgers and Astros, Bud Norris and Hiroki Kuroda, and on the horizon, the Detroit Tigers. Here's the strike 1 pitch, hard ground foul outside of first down the line. So Andre in a hole, no balls and 2 strikes, hitting .315, half a dozen home runs, 34 runs batted in. So Andre back up, Matt Kemp waiting on deck. Norris turns on the rubber, Bud delivers, and it's sliced off to the left down the line. Coming over to take a look, and that's all, is Carlos Lee. It's back into the stands, out of play, and the count stays, no balls and 2 strikes. Ethier with 34 runs batted in. Andre 6th in the league with his batting average, 10th in on base percentage. He has 81 base hits. Norris looks down, getting a sign from Corporon, comes back low in the dirt, kicks away for ball 1. 1-2 the count. Astros and Dodgers concluding their season's work against each other. The Astros have won 4 out of 5. Brad Mills, who was a pretty good ball player, and then his knees went out from him. He had to have them operated on, and that was the end of his playing career. But he's turned out to be a good, solid manager. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and Ethier takes in the dirt again, and the count 2-2. So Bud Norris and Hiroki Kuroda. Norris is basically fastball, slider, and changeup. Left-hand hitters had 12 home runs against him last year. Right-handers 6 home runs. The pitch to Andre, a comebacker. So each pitcher ends the inning with a lob toss to first. Down go the Dodgers, 1, 2, 3. And at the end of an inning, the Astros nothing and the Dodgers nothing. Carlos Lee, followed by Brett Wallace, and then Chris Johnson. Carlos Lee has pretty good numbers against Kuroda. He is 5 for 14 with a home run and 4 runs batted in. So he brings a .357 batting average against Kuroda to the plate and a .273 overall batting average with 5 home runs. Carlos has a look at the first pitch, slider off the plate, ball 1. Lee had a base hit and a walk last night. He also had 3 singles in the first game of the series. He looks at a pitch inside, and he has the count his way now. 2 balls and no strikes. Carlos waiting, big right-hand batter, and Kuroda comes with a fastball, jumps it in there for a strike, and the count 2-1. Carlos Lee has been on a tear since the 1st of May. Kuroda delivers, fastball hit to right field. Ethier has it under control, backs up and makes the catch, and we have 1 away in the 2nd inning. And the batter will be Brett Wallace, the first baseman. By the way, it is Father's Day, of course. Do you ever understand the background of Father's Day? It really all started in Spokane, Washington in 1910 on Mother's Day. And there was a lady, Mrs. Dodd, who was sitting at church, and the minister was talking about Mother's Day, and she started to think about her own life. The pitch to Brett is off the plate, ball 1, and she realized that it was her father, who was a widower, who raised 6 children, including herself. And she thought, here we are praising Mother, how about my father? The 1-0 pitch in for a strike, and the count 1-1. So she went to the minister. He talked to other ministers, and she said, I'd like Father's Day in Spokane to be celebrated on June 5th. That was my father's birthday. Wallace fouls it away, 1-2 the count. And the minister said, no, we don't have time to get our sermons ready to properly address the subject. Let's make it the 19th of June. So in Spokane, Washington, about a year after that, they started to celebrate Father's Day. The 1-2 pitch is taken low. That was 2 years after Mother's Day was first celebrated in West Virginia. Well, anyway, the proposal of Father's Day was well received up in the state of Washington. Father's Day, however, was not quickly accepted by the country that went for Mother's Day right away. Here's the 2-2 pitch on the way, and Wallace takes high, ball 3. In fact, they wanted to have the members of Congress make a move to celebrate Father's Day officially, and they felt, no, that would be too self-congratulatory. After all, Congress was just full of men. 3-2 pitch, little ground ball wide of third. Blake is on it, throws to first in time, and we have 2 down in the 2nd inning. However, as time went along, in 1916, Woodrow Wilson and his family formally celebrated Father's Day. It didn't mean the rest of the country did, but he did. Then in 1924, President Calvin Coolidge recommended that the states should celebrate Father's Day, have their own observances. Moving along in years, Calvin Coolidge said, yes, we ought to do it for sure, following Woodrow Wilson's suggestion. A senator, a woman, Margaret Chase Smith, tried to propose Father's Day to the Senate, but it didn't really make it. The strike 1 pitch lashed foul into the chairs off third, 0-2 the count. Then in 1972, 62 years after it was first proposed, Father's Day was permanently established by President Nixon. So that's the origin, the start of Father's Day. The strike 2 pitch is high. And by the way, it's a commercial success. They say Father's Day is the 5th celebrated with a card in the holiday card business. 1-2 pitch is flared over first, down the line. Loney can't make a diving catch. And on his way for 2 is Johnson, and he'll be in there. So a little pop fly double down the line back at first base. Chris Johnson at second. And trying to pick him up will be Clint Barmas. So a 2-out double, and Barmas coming up. If you wonder, the average year on a Father's Day, 85 million cards are purchased to salute Dad. So that's the background on it anyway, in case you wondered. 2 out here in the second inning. No score. Astros get a double. Little pop fly down the line. No score in the second inning. Clint Barmas hitting .226, 3 home runs, 11 runs batted in. Goes after the first slider, doesn't get it, and the count 0-1. Barmas followed by Corporon, the catcher, on deck. 2 out, second inning, no score. Kuroda at the belt. Long look in to get a sign. Now a look back at Chris Johnson, and the pitch to Barmas, and that's taken a little high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Barmas last night had a great bunt single on a 3-1 count, and he also singled to left. The bunt single was very important. It led to a 5-run inning and a victory for Houston. The Astros have had 2 5-run innings in the series. The 1-1 pitch on the way to Barmas. Check swing. They're going to look. No swing, says first base umpire Mike Ripperger, and a 2-1 count. They had 5 runs, 5 hits in the 6th inning of Game 1, 5 runs, 4 hits in the 5th inning of Game 2. 2-1 the count to Clint Barmas. Kuroda holding the ball at the belt buckle, now out of his stretch. And his 2-1 pitch coming up to the right-hand batter. And it's swung on and fouled away. And the count 2-2. The Astros losing perhaps their top player all around, right fielder Hunter Pence, who hurt his arm trying to grab first base in the first game. Did something certainly to his elbow, and he's going back to Houston to have the MRI and have it checked out. But they've done pretty well without him. Here's the 2-2 pitch coming up now to Clint Barmas, way off the plate, ball 3. So a flare double, and with 2 out, a full count to Clint Barmas. And Carlos Corporon, the catcher, is on deck. 3-2. Here comes Kuroda. Look back at Johnson, who has a good lead. Double checks him. Now comes to the plate, and Barmas takes ball 4. So first and second with 2 out. And the batter is Carlos Corporon. And for Carlos Corporon, it is indeed a happy Father's Day with a caveat. But I'll tell you why the caveat. He has a son born 2 weeks ago. He was in Oklahoma City with the Nashville club, and the baby arrived, little boy, with a heart problem. And the baby was 1 week old, and he had to undergo heart surgery. A week later, his father had to leave to join the Astros. Carlos swings, doesn't get it, 0-1. The reports are he has received that the baby is doing well. So here he is on his first Father's Day with his own son. 2 weeks old, having already had heart surgery. You can imagine what a meaningful day it is for Carlos. Left-hand batter, switch hitter, but hitting left. Pitch in the dirt, gets away, and the Astros move up to second and third. Live by the splitter, and you get hurt by the splitter. That for Kuroda is his 9th wild pitch. So second and third with 2 out. Corporon, who's only played a couple of games, most of the series looked overmatched with the bat, to be honest. He's only had 21 at-bats anyway, so it's hard to judge anybody. But he did get a base hit in the 8th inning last night, his first hit of the series. 1-1 pitch to Carlos. Kuroda very deliberate, deals, it swung on and missed. 1-2 the count. So Corporon, who does not look like a threat, but of course you never can tell, and the switch hitting catcher from Puerto Rico at the plate. He was originally signed by the Milwaukee Brewers back in 2003. Corporon waiting. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Second and third, 2 out, no score. And now Navarro going out to talk to Kuroda. We can tell you that Corporon is 1 for 6 as a right-handed batter. That would be a 167 batting average. Left-handed, he is even less impressive, hitting just 133. So with first base open, they want him desperately to end the inning and get out of the jam. So Corporon waiting at the plate. 1-2 the count. Among other things, he was sidelined with a bad finger. Another reason why he hasn't played much. This is only his 6th career start. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Corporon, and it's strike 3 called on the inside corner. Down he goes, and the Astros lead runners at second and third. No runs, a hit, a walk, 2 left, and at the end of an inning and a half, no score. It is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Get the new Bourbon Barbecue Steak Grilled Sandwich at participating restaurants. And by your Southern California Ford dealers. Visit us today and trade up to Ford. Bottom of the second inning, no score in the ball game. We can duck in a couple of scores. Tigers shutting down the Rockies 4-0 in the 5th inning. It means the Dodgers will miss Justin Verlander. He's leading 4-0. He's allowed 1 hit through 4 innings. The White Sox and the D-backs scoreless in the 3rd. Philip Humber for Chicago against Josh Coleman for Arizona. Josh with an ERA of 1.79. And the Giants and A's, they're scoreless in the 2nd as Matt Kemp checks in. First pitch to Matt, a little high, ball 1. 1-0 the count. Matt batting .331, 20 home runs, 57 runs batted in. The next pitch to him is lifted foul off first base and out of play, and the count 1-1. Matt Kemp against Bud Norris, 3 for 5 with a home run. Matt in and out of the box, now back up. And the 1-1 pitch on the way. Norris turns on the rubber, delivers, gets it a little low. Ball 2, 2-1. In the Giant A's game, that's Matt Cain and Trevor Cahill. The A's trying to sweep the Giants, who've lost 3 straight. Now the 2-1 pitch swung on and missed. Well, I wouldn't say that misery loves company, but for the Dodgers, they would understand. In the 3 games, the Giants are 0 for 22 with runners in scoring position. Last 3 games. So without Freddie Sanchez, who might be lost for the year from what we've read, and without Buster Posey, who is definitely out for the year, the Giants, despite leading the division, are a bit shaky, and Kemp fouls off another. As the day began, Arizona trailing the Giants by a half a game. Colorado back by 3.5. So here's Kemp, Loney on deck, Blake in the dugout on the steps, or as they used to say, in the hold. 3-2 pitch, fastball, and a towering smash to center. Back goes Bourne at the wall to make the catch. So Matt Kemp just misses, hitting one out. Long fly ball to center, 1 away. Say, don't forget the Dodgers Retro 4-pack. That includes 3 bobblehead games, Ethier, Fernando, Duke Snyder, and the Brooklyn Fleece Blanket game, all starting at $15 a seat. And to add your collection, go to Dodgers.com/mini-plans or call 323-224-1365. Houston-born James Loney at the plate, and takes a high strike above the belt, somewhere close to the letters. 0-1 the count to James, who has hit safely in 7 of his last 8. Left-hand hitter waits, strike 1 pitch, swung on and missed, 0-2. So Norris, who has had trouble with left-hand hitters, working on a good one, who's batting .289 against right-hand pitching. Strike 2 pitch on the way. Loney swings and misses. Boy, that didn't take long. Fastball up around the Adams apple, and Loney went after it. So the so-called high hard one has a victim. And with 2 out in the 2nd inning, it'll be Casey Blake. For Norris, that would be his 91st strikeout of the year. And here is Blake. Casey hitting .257. Norris ready and comes to him. A little off speed for a strike. Drops into the high 80s. Casey, his father Joe, and a beautiful family. The strike 1 pitch a little low. In fact, Casey, a daddy several times, including a recent baby. The 1-1 pitch on the way. Casey swings, doesn't get it. 1-2 the count. So Bud Norris doing what you expect. He comes out and he throws hard. Bud ready, and the 1-2 pitch sliced foul down the line, out of play. For Norris, his strikeout high so far this year. Against the Brewers, he struck out 11. Twice he has given up 2 home runs in a game. He misses to Blake. Gave up 2 to the Phillies at the start of the year, and in the middle of May gave up 2 to the New York Mets. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Casey Blake. No score, bottom of the 2nd inning. And the pitch at the plate hit late and foul. So Casey takes a little walk outside the box, thinking things over. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, no score, 2nd inning. Hitting behind Blake, Marcus Thames. You might notice they call him crawls at the bottom of the screen if you're watching television. Blake, meanwhile, a fly ball to left field. Carlos Lee picks it off, and that'll do for the Dodgers. The crawls on the 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 8th, folks have sent in to FoxSports.com, saluting their dads, and we're playing them throughout the game. We're scoreless. A lot of families here today, a lot of mothers, fathers, and children. As we go to the third, Bud Norris, Michael Bourne, and Jason Bourgeois. And there are some very small babies sleeping on Dad's chest as well here. Bud Norris is a scratch golfer, right-hand batter. And the first pitch to him is a looked-at strike, 0-1 the count. He kind of grew up on a golf course, they say, but his first love is snowboarding. Strike one pitch on the way. Kuroda deals, and that's a hard slider, and the count 0-2. So Bud Norris grew up in the San Francisco area. Strike two pitch on the way to the right-hand hitter, and it's way off the plate. Ball one. 1-2. Norris from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, a 6th round pick by the Astros 5 years ago. And the 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed. That'll do it. And we have one out here in the third inning. Second consecutive strikeout for Kuroda. And he has 3 in the game. So now Michael Bourne coming up. And again, the big problem, a lot of speed for the Dodgers to defend against. First of all, Bourne leads the National League in infield hits. He has 18. He has 5 bunt singles. So they have to pull the corners up, and the left-hand hitter takes a slow breaking ball up, ball one. Bourne, who can go and get him, has 2 gold gloves, and of course is constantly applying pressure because of his speed. Swings and doesn't get it. Last year, he became the second Astro player to steal at least 50 bases in consecutive seasons. Now the 1-1 pitch on the way to Michael, and he fouls it away. In 2009, Bourne stole 61 bases. Came back the next year to steal 52 last year. And as he stands up there at the plate right now, he's stolen 29. 1-2 the count. Kuroda ready and delivers, and it's a little low. By stealing 50 or more 2 years in a row, he joins Cesar Cedeno, who stole 50 or more 6 straight seasons in the 70s. The 2-2 pitch on the way, and that's taken low. Cedeno, a tremendous center fielder, and of course it would indicate stealing 50 or more 6 straight, he could fly. 3-2 to Michael Bourne, and the left-hand hitter swings and fouls it back. For Bourne, 5'11", 180. He's 28. He'll be 29 2 days after Christmas. He went to the University of Houston, and he was a 4th round pick by the Phillies. Now the 3-2 pitch on the way, swung on, little dribbler, tough play. Loney gets it, makes a swipe tag, and got him on the arm. So Michael Bourne is tagged out by Loney, and with 2 down, Jason Bourgeois coming up. Another rabbit. So a close play. He was too far away from the bag, was Bourne, to slide. Though Loney took advantage of that and just did get him going by. So from one speedster to another, now the Dodgers have to look at Bourgeois. He has stolen 17 out of 19. Loney wide of the bag at first, and the first pitch misses for ball one, 1-0. Jason Bourgeois is a Houston native. His dad used to work the ticket booth at the old Astrodome. The 1-0 pitch is a ground ball to short. D. Gordon, nice big hop, kind of sidearms it for no reason, and Loney unable to dig it out. That's a bad throw by Gordon, not just because it was in the dirt, but he threw sidearm, and by throwing sidearm, the ball had a tendency to sink. He kind of flipped it. Do you ever try to throw a stone on a body of water to see it skip? Well, that's what he did, and it skipped. And Loney was just unable to handle it. and Gordon will draw the error. So D should get back to throwing over the top as he usually does and forget all about that sidearm sinking throw to first. So now, little complication for Kuroda with a rabbit over there at first base. And the batter is Jeff Keppinger. Kuroda looks. Bourgeois takes his lead. Another look. Kuroda goes over there. And Jason dives back to the bag. 17 out of 19. So he can motor. He's only 5'9", about 185. He was a second-team prep school All-American. Also was part of an Arizona State recruiting college team, but he signed with the Rangers instead. So Bourgeois off the bag. Kuroda watching. No score. Top of the third. 2-out throwing error by the shortstop Gordon. Throw to first. Not in time, but boy, it was close. Those who watch Bourgeois all the time kind of compare him to, a speedster like Ricky Henderson. The tag was high up on the bicep and the hand had just touched the bag. It was that close. Off he gets. Kuroda, a high set, goes over there again. And once more, Bourgeois back to the bag, head first. Bourgeois' high in stolen bases was in the International League. He stole 30 bases for Charlotte a couple of years ago. Kuroda watching, now comes to the plate quickly and misses away, ball one. 1-0. Keppinger hit back to the box in the first inning. Jeff back up to the plate. No score, third inning. Keppinger hitting .298, home run, 9 runs batted in. The next pitch is high, a throw to first. Bourgeois back to the bag, standing up. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. So one thing for sure, whether it's Bourne or Bourgeois, you are very much aware of their presence out there on the base paths. Bourne leading Jose Reyes by 3 stolen bases. Bourgeois has 17. The next pitch of the plate to Keppinger in the dirt. And Kuroda is so aware of the presence of Bourgeois. He was really in a hurry to get that ball to the plate. And of course, if you're Keppinger, a 2-1 count, knowing the speed of Bourgeois, the hitter is thinking, well, he wants to get that ball as quickly as possible to the catcher. So I'm going to get some fastballs. Well, we'll see how it works. Keppinger, by the way, has a very good eye for the strike zone. 2-1 pitch is taken high, ball 3. For several years, Keppinger walked more than he has struck out. So he's that tough. This year, he has walked 3 and struck out 5, but he hadn't played only 21 games. Keppinger 3-1. Bourgeois dives back, even though Kuroda just backed off the rubber. We'll see if he goes 3-1. Keppinger is a contact hitter for sure. Runner not going, and the pitch is a strike on the inside corner. Now, of course, 3-2, 2 out. They will run him. Keppinger has struck out only 5 times in 87 plate appearances. And since he had back to the box in the first inning, it's 88 plate appearances. This 89. No score, third inning, 2 out. Bourgeois draws yet another throw and dives back. Bourgeois, by the way, with those 17 stolen bases, he's done that in only 37 games. 3-2 with 2 out. He's a goner. And the pitch to Keppinger at the knuckles for ball 4. So 2 on, 2 out. And the big guy Carlos Lee coming up. And I'm sure sweating at his position is D. Gordon. I mean, he had a routine play on the ground ball by Bourgeois. For one reason or another, tried to sidearm and almost throw the ball while holding underneath the ball like you would to try to throw that stone on a flat lake. And he bounced it, and Loney unable to handle it. So Keppinger walks, and now you have some trouble in Carlos Lee. Lee, 5 home runs, 36 runs batted in, and he has hit Kuroda hard in the past. Hiroki delivers, and the first pitch is low, ball 1. 1-0 to Carlos Lee. He is the big man. For the last couple of years with the Astros, he's made a lot of money, and they expect a lot of him. He's had as many as 32 home runs and 119 RBIs for the Astros in the past. Carlos waiting. Right-hand batter, Kuroda deals. That one's off the plate. Ball 2, 2-0. In the series so far, we were talking about the Giants 0 for 22 with runners in scoring position in their last 3 games. The Astros are hitting 320. The Dodgers are hitting 200 with runners in scoring position. 2-0 the count to Carlos Lee, big boy out of Panama. And the 2-0 pitch swung on, fouled away. Carlos Lee from Agua Dulce, Sweetwater, Panama, originally drafted by the White Sox. He's 6'2" and 240. He's put up some big numbers over the years. He's been a major leaguer since 1999. So Lee with 2 on and 2 out, 2-1 the count. The 2-1 pitch to Carlos. Kuroda delivers, check swing for a strike, 2-2. We told you that Carlos Lee's been red hot since May 1, which is a little surprising because on May 1 he spent the night in a Houston hospital after injuring his left ribs, colliding with Angel Sanchez. Both were sliding in the outfield on a fly ball. He had pain, but luckily no broken ribs. And right after that, he really started to hit. 2-2 pitch, and he takes in the dirt, gets away from Navarro, and the runners move up to second and third. Since it was in the dirt, it's going to be a wild pitch. That is the 10th wild pitch now for Kuroda, trying to keep that splitter down. Live by the sword, die by the sword. So now Lee with first base open, hitting back of him is a left-hand batter, Brett Wallace. So let's see what they do with Carlos Lee. Do they challenge him or put him on 3-2? They are going to pitch to him. No score, 3rd inning, 2 out. Kuroda ready. Here he comes, and it's popped in the air. Coming in for it is Uribe, and the senior will make the catch over D. Gordon, who stood alongside of him. A huge out. Kuroda is out of the jam. The Astros lead 2, and at the end of 2.5, no score. Inning exacted a price from Hiroki Kuroda. Because of the error by D. Gordon, he had to face 2 more hitters. He wound up making 25 pitches. So all of a sudden, at the end of 3 innings for him, Hiroki Kuroda has made 60 pitches. Marcus Thames followed by Deanna Navarro and then Hiroki Kuroda. And for Hiroki, resting in the dugout now. And the first pitch away to Thames for ball 1. Marcus had 2 hits last night, fouls it away, 1 ball, 1 strike. He grounded out, then he should have had a double. The ball hit the tarp roller, kicked over to Carlos Lee, who threw him out at second base. Then he singled to center and grounded out. So Thames hitting 180, 2 home runs, 6 runs batted in. The pitch of the right-hand hitter is hit to dead center, but almost in his tracks, Michael Bourne makes the catch. So Thames a drive out to center, 1 away. That's 7 in a row retired by Bud Norris. Last night, you may remember, Ruby De La Rosa retired the first 10 in a row, but he had given up a leadoff double. Norris hasn't given up anything, and here's Deanna Navarro. Switch hitting catcher, batting 156. Not really hitting from either side of the plate. And the first pitch to Deanna, in for that high strike, 0-1. Jeff Nelson is the plate umpire, and Jeff's been in the big leagues for over 13 years. The next pitch is a strike, 0-2. So Navarro trying to get started. No balls and 2 strikes. Norris ready, back with a pitch away, 1-2. No score, bottom of the 3rd. Bud Norris against Hiroki Kuroda. And the next pitch is foul back, fastball alley, second deck, directly behind the plate. And when you look at the gun, it tells you for sure that was a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. 1-2 the count. Norris, who's been roughed up by left-handers, they're hitting better than 300 against him, comes back with a fastball low. 2-2 the count to Deanna Navarro. Norris looks over the tips of his glove, and the right-handed delivers, and there's a line drive base hit to center. So for a guy hitting 156, how sweet it is as Navarro, a 1-out single to bring up Hiroki Kuroda. Say, you know, next weekend the Angels are here. And after the game Friday, enjoy Friday night fireworks presented by Pizza Hut. Before the game on Saturday, join us for on-field photo day to take pictures with your favorite Dodgers. So go to Dodgers.com/promotions or call 866-DODGERS. Monday, Tuesday nights, Wednesday afternoon with Detroit, Thursday an open date, and the weekend with the Angels. Perched it to Kuroda, showed bunt, took high, ball 1. Hiroki back up. Johnson well in on the grass. He shows bunt again and misses it this time. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Kuroda has 2 hits in 30 at-bats. He does not have a sacrifice. He has struck out 9 times. So after retiring 7 in a row, Navarro got the single. The next pitch is a strike, and the count 1-2. Norris is a strikeout pitcher. He had 90 coming in. He's the big man on the Astro squad. Bud plants that right foot, first base side of the rubber. Kuroda waiting with D. Gordon on deck. 1-2 pitch. The bunt is on. The pitch is low. A scrambling stop by Corporon. And holding it first is Navarro. So Kuroda backs away again, looking down to Dave Hansen, coaching at third, to see if the bunt might be on with 2 strikes. Hiroki has 2 hits, 2 singles. Astros think he's still going to try to bunt. If he succeeds, it will be for the first time this year. He shows bunt, he bunts, and it's going to be a fair ball, and Wallace plays to first, so Kuroda does his job. With 2 strikes, he does get the bunt down to advance his cause. Nazaro now is at second, and with 2 away, the batter will be D. Gordon. So Kuroda making his way back to the Dodger dugout. D. Gordon taking his time, making sure Hiroki gets back. And here's Gordon, who grounded out in the first inning. So Kuroda gets 5s. Tough enough to get the bunt down, but especially with 2 strikes. So here's Gordon. They pull up the corners just in case he tries to bunt for a base hit. And D, a full swing and a foul ball into the stands down the right field line, and it sounded like he hit it with the morning paper, and he'll have to get another bat. 0-1 the count. So Gordon cracked the first bat, now hoping he's got one with a base hit in it. Dodgers trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. And we're in the bottom of the third, no score. Deanna Navarro at second base. Now the strike 1 pitch on the way. Norris delivers, fastball fouled off. 0-2 the count. That fastball at 88. It's not like Norris is overpowering. They say his fastball has been clocked as high as 98, but we haven't seen that. So 0-2 the count. Time for the moment as he scrapes at the rubber and then cleaning off his shoes with the brush that's behind the mound. No balls and 2 strikes they count. Norris working on Gordon. Bud ready, set, right-hander deals, fastball, got him looking on the outside corner at the knees. Down goes Gordon. They lead Navarro, and at the end of 3, no score. Loco. Now for only $5, get one of our 5 tasty combos. They're the combos other combos wish they could be. Catch them before they're gone. By Corona, who invites you to find your beach. And by Time Warner Cable. No score on this 4th inning as they move in each side with 1 hit. It'll be Brett Wallace, the first baseman, Chris Johnson, and then Clint Barmas. Hello there in your Dodger pink. Boy, they're great. They are miracles. If you have a child, you understand. And they're all decked out in their Dodger gear. keeping the ice cream cups busy. Great day in the ballpark. No score in the fourth on Father's Day. And here's Brett Wallace, who has not been able to do something that we thought he would do, and that is get a base hit the other way. When he came in, he had 33 hits to left field. He takes inside, ball one. However, he has been pulling the ball at best, grounded out. His one hit so far in this series was a single to right field. A strike in the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Wallace usually hits early in the count. He's from Sonoma. 1-2. 6'2", 205-pounder. He was a Cardinal first-round pick out of Arizona State. A very good hitter at night. When this series started, he was hitting .366 at night to lead the league. Ground ball to D. Gordon. That's a better throw. And never mind that sidearm, kind of a scaling a rock. So one away.
Number 23, Chris Johnson.
Now Chris Johnson. Johnson hit that little pop fly just over Loney's head and down the line. It went for a double. No score. The Astros came close on an error and a walk and a wild pitch. They had second and third, and their big man at the plate, the cleanup hitter Carlos Lee, and the best he could do is pop it up. So Johnson 1 for 1. 0-2. Johnson has only walked 8 times, and he has struck out 63. Strike 2 pitch. 1-2. Hiroki Kuroda, coming into the inning, made 60 pitches in the first 3 innings. 1-2. And Johnson, having a lot of trouble, just did get a piece of that to foul it back. Chris has hit safely in 11 of the last 12 games he's played in. That's marvelous for a guy who has trouble making contact. Little pop fly. This time Loney can catch it, and in foul ground. 2 out in the fourth. Clint Barmes coming up. Barmes walked in the second inning. Dodgers so far through their 3 innings have 1 hit, a single by Navarro. The Astros have left 4 in the first 3. 0-1 the count to Clint Barmes. Barmes has hit safely in 13 of the last 17. With his 3 home runs, that's 1 more than any Astro shortstop had last year. That sum was 2. No balls and 2 strikes to Clint. Long way from 2009 when he was playing in Denver and taking advantage of the mile-high conditions. Ball 1. Barmes out of Vincennes, Indiana. 32 years old. And chases one, and down he goes. So Kuroda picks up his 4th strikeout. The Astros go in order, and at the end of 3.5, no score. brought to you by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. And by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Bottom of the fourth inning, no score in the ball game. The Dodgers and the Astros. Just to refresh your memory, the Dodgers were swept by Cincinnati. The last time they were swept in back-to-back three-game series, you have to go back to 2006, but that was the year they wound up winning the wild card. But for the Astros to sweep three and to win five against the Dodgers in 1 year, you have to go back to 1999. So the Dodgers trying to change all those numbers, and they'll have Uribe, Ethier, and Kemp. Uribe flied to right in the first inning, hitting .203. Boy, the Cardinals got some bad news today. The Cardinals, as the day began, just one game behind Milwaukee, but they're in trouble. Tell you why in a moment. Ball two. Albert Pujols left today's game. Appeared to be in quite a bit of pain, having hurt his left wrist. That's the scare for a first baseman reaching for an errant throw, and you have a collision with the runner. Ground ball backhanded at short. Barman throws in time. One away. The preliminary diagnosis on the injury, they referred to it as a sprained left wrist. He'll be reevaluated tomorrow. You have to remember, Pujols has been pretty much of an Iron Man. He's played at least 154 games in 8 of the last 10 years. He homered earlier, and that was his 8th home run in the last 15 games. But for the Cardinals to lose Pujols, boy, that is really a blow. They lost, of course, their fine pitcher, Adam Wainwright, around the start of the year. A strike to Ethier, 0-1. Waiting on deck, Matt Kemp. Fastball strike. Though Andre in a hole 0-2. He hit back to the box to end the first inning. Batting .314. Little ground ball. Keppinger is there. So Ethier taps out, 2 down in the 4th inning. And the batter, Matt Kemp, fly to center in the second. Matt 0 for 1. No runs and 1 hit for each side. Matt hitting .330. Right up there with Prince Fielder, who happened to hit his 20th today to catch Matt. And ball 1. In the dirt, new ball put in play. One and 0 the count. In the dirt again, ball 2, 2-0. In the middle of April, Bud Norris went 6 innings and allowed just 2 hits to San Diego. He won the game 1-0. He's had 4 games where he gave up only 3 hits. Well, since they appear to be trying to pitch around him, the count's 3-0, and I'm sure that Mattingly would green light Kemp. It's just whether he likes the location. He takes a strike. 3-1 the count. Dodgers desperate for runs, and they're not about to take the bat out of Kemp's hands if they can help it. 3-1. And high for ball 4. So Kemp draws the walk. And James Loney coming up, struck out in the 2nd inning. Now it's a question for Bud Norris about keeping an eye on Kemp and whether that might distract. Remember, he's allowed 10 home runs, 7 to left-handed batters. Loney has 4. And for 6 weeks at least. Loney has been hitting .310. So he has his average up to .256. He was barely hitting a little more than $1.50 the first 3 weeks of the season. So Kemp has stolen 16 out of 19. Loney takes ball 1. And on deck, Casey Blake. Loney checking to see. Kemp a very cautious lead over there at first, but he can pick up and go with the best of them, and they throw over. Remember the big difference for Bud Norris in pitching against left-handers and right-handers. Left-handers hitting .300 against him. Right-handers .160. Hit and run foul ball. Matt Kemp goes belly first into the bag, and he'll have to go back to first. 1-1 the count. No score. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Each side with 1 hit. For the Astros, a little pop fly over Loney's head that went for a double. And for the Dodgers, a 1-out line drive single to center by Deonna Navarro. 1-1 the count. Keppinger plays on the grass with Loney up there. Matt's going again, and the throw down on the wrong side of the bag. It was on the shortstop side, so that Barmes had to get it and then try to fly the tag, and Matt steals it. So 17 out of 20 for Matt Kemp. Now let's see about Loney with Casey Blake on deck. Now Loney struck out and Blake flied to left in the 2nd inning. So Kemp at second with 2 out. And for Loney, he comes up empty, and that's that. So Loney strikes out a 2nd time. No runs, no hits. Dodgers leave Kemp at second, and at the end of 4, no score. Bud Norris so far shutting the Dodgers through 4 innings with 1 hit. Dodgers have had only 2 base runners, the single by Navarro and the 2-out walk to Kemp in the 4th inning. The Astros had 2nd and 3rd in the 2nd inning and 2nd and 3rd in the 3rd and failed to score. So we go to the 5th, no score, and Corona ready to work on Corporon, the catcher, who struck out in the 2nd inning. Switch hitter hitting left-handed. And ground ball to Loney, feeding his pitcher coming over. 1 pitch, 1 away. The batter will be Bud Norris, who struck out in the third inning. Bud Norris, 2 hits in 25 at-bats. He's a good bunter as far as sacrifices are concerned. And I always think if a pitcher is very good, if he can make 6 or 7 sacrifices early in the season, but he's not hitting, why he wouldn't try to bunt for a base hit. So we'll see what Bud does. Blake about even with the bag at third. And a strike. Loney is way back. Blake is back. Why wouldn't he try to bunt? And instead a ground ball to Gordon. Again gets that hard throw to first in time. So with 3 pitches we have 2 out. And the batter will be Michael Bourne. Be sure to follow the Dodgers with the MLB.com at Bat 11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and even more. Text @BAT to 31826 or visit Dodgers.com for details. Quickly 2 out, 6 in a row retired by Kuroda. Ball 1 to Michael Bourne. First and foremost for Kuroda, trying to keep Bourne and Bourgeois off the base paths. Ball 2. Kuroda has struck out 4 and walked 2. A strike. 2-1. Foul back. Michael Bourne doing a very good job in center field. He's won 2 Gold Gloves in 2009 and last year. And strike 3, and he's hot at the call. The Bourne called out by Jeff Nelson. Down go the Astros in order. 7 and a roots. Michael Bourne's just been kicked out. And so Michael Bourne has been kicked out of the game by plate umpire Jeff Nelson, arguing about strike 3. He felt it was inside. Jeff thought it caught the corner. And when you start hollering at the umpire, you're the one who's going to lose. And there's the goodbye signal. So the Astros are short in the outfield anyway because Hunter Pence can't play. He hurt his arm. And Jason Michael will be taken over. Jason Michael out of Tampa, Florida. He's 34 years old. So Michael still lives in the Tampa area. And looking at his background, he came up 10 years ago with Philadelphia. And Michael has played with Philadelphia, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and the last 2 years plus now with Houston. So Michael is in center, and the Dodgers have Casey Blake. Ball one. Want to know the count. That's in there. For Jason Michael, he's hitting 193. He's been in 30 some odd games. Fouled away, 1-2. Kuroda got what he was looking for in the 5th inning. It was an 8-pitch inning. Nevertheless, he's already now made 81 pitches in 5 innings. 2nd and 3rd innings had to take a lot out of him. 24 pitches in the 2nd inning, 25 in the 3rd. Bud Norris, meanwhile, coming in here in the 5th inning. And a fly ball to center, so Michael just gets in the game and makes the catch, 1 away. Trivia question. As we see, they've switched the outfield. Bourgeois is now in center and Michaels is in right. Here's the trivia question. Tony Gwynn Jr., one of 3 major leaguers ever whose father had 3,000 hits. Who are the other 2? Well, we'll give you the answer in a while. That's a strike. 0-1 the count to Marcus Thames. One ball and 1 strike. Marcus fly to center in the 3rd inning. He's 0 for 1. No score, bottom of the 5th. That's in there. 1-2. Detroit coming in, and Marcus Thames remembers when he was a member of the Tigers, and during a 10-game stretch back in 2008, he had 8 hits. Sounds like not much of a big deal, but all 8 hits were home runs. He homered in 5 straight games. Hits one just foul down the line. 2-2. When he hit in home runs in 5 straight, he put his name in the Tigers record book, sharing with Rudy York, Hank Greenberg, Vic Wertz, and Willie Horton. Some great names in Tiger past. 2-2 to Marcus. Showing the fastball. That was at 94. 3-2. Time. Three and 2. Down he goes. That was a straight change at 82. So it's interesting. He showed him that fastball over his head and then just took a lot off the next straight change, and Marcus way out in front of it. That is big league pitching. Four strikeouts for Bud Norris. And here's Deanna Navarro. Single to center in the 3rd inning. Ball 1, 1-0. No score in the 5th. Each side with 1 hit. The Astros certainly came close to scoring. They had second and third in the second inning, but Corporon struck out. They had second and third in the third with their big hitter Carlos Lee at the plate, and he popped up. And ball 3. Though with Kuroda on deck, Norris goes 3-0 to Deanna Navarro. And a strike. 3-1 to the Dodgers switch hitting catcher. We'll repeat. Rod Barajas on the DL. He sprained his right ankle last night in pursuit of that wild pitch. Ground ball back at first. Wallace is on it. He will hang it to Norris coming over. So down go the Dodgers, and at the end of 5, no score. Dodger dugout in Ebbets Field with the day's starting pitcher Carl Erskine, and he had a brand new ball in his hand, and he just said, you know, Vinny, I wonder what this ball has in store for me today. Well, what it had in store, he went to the mound, he pitched a no-hitter, he walked the worst hitter you ever saw, the opposing pitcher Willard Ramsdell, on 4 pitches. He retired the next 19 in a row, so only the walk took away a perfect game as the Dodgers beat the Cubs 5-0. They all wonder, what does this ball have in store for me today? Let's go back to this one. Tough ball game. Bud Norris and Hiroki Kuroda in the 6th inning. It'll be Bourgeois, Keppinger, and Lee in that order. Hiroki has allowed 1 hit. That was a little pop fly double over the head of James Loney. Bud Norris has allowed 1 hit, a single to center by Deanna Navarro. The bunt, and he's flying. They let it go, and it's foul. The Bourgeois, who has struck out and reached on an error, will be coming back to try it again. So the other rabbit, Michael Bourne, has been kicked out, so it's up to Bourgeois to lead the way. He's a very dangerous 2-strike hitter. And now he's going to be hitting 0-2. He came into this series hitting .357 on an 0-2 count. And what do you think he's hitting on a 1-2 count? Would you believe .545? Jason Bourgeois out of Houston. 1-2. And a fly ball to right center. Matt Kemp is there. 1 out in the 6th. Remember the trivia question? I mean, Tony Gwynn was here. It was a great moment when the father's throwing the ball to open it up. Tony, one of 3 major leaguers ever whose father had 3,000 hits. Who are the other 2? Pete Rose Jr., his dad over 4,000, and going way back, Eddie Collins, whose father had 3,300. The nice scene, if you weren't with us before the game, that's going to go foul. Tom Gordon throwing out the first pitch to his son D. Gordon, and Tony Gwynn left-handing his first pitch to his son Tony Gwynn Jr. Great way to start Father's Day at Dodger Stadium. I'm not sure whose idea it was, but that was great. 1-1 the count to Keppinger. No score. Top of the 6th. And that's going to be up the middle, just by Uribe. So Keppinger, a 1-out single. Hit number 2 for the Astros, and only the 3rd hit in the game. And the batter will be Carlos Lee. Keppinger does not have a stolen base, nor has he been involved in a stolen base. So we'll see what that means as Lee checks in. Carlos had a big chance, but popped up with 2 out runners at 2nd and 3rd in the 3rd inning. And ball 1 in at the knuckles. Lee hitting .271. 5 home runs, 36 runs batted in. Last year, Keppinger had 4 stolen bases, but he obviously is not a big base stealer. Off the plate. 4 last year. Then you'd have to go back to 08 with the Reds when he had 3, and go back to 07 when he had 2. So he doesn't figure to be much of a threat running. 2 balls and no strikes to Carlos Lee. And foul back. We have been showing players and their fathers' names and their number of children. And I guess one of the greatest Father's Day in history for any player was a right-hand pitcher by the name of Jim Bunning. Bunning, who had like 10 children and went to Washington. But Bunning, as a pitcher, pitched a perfect game on Father's Day. That was something. Two and 1 the count. Carlos Lee has only struck out 28 times, so you could put a play on 2 and 1 with a guy who hits cleanup. We'll watch Keppinger. He's not going. Check swing for a strike. 2 and 2. Carlos Lee flied to right, popped up 0 for 2. He's had a wonderful career. Came up in 1999 with the White Sox, and he's been up ever since. White Sox, Brewers, Astros. 2 and 2. From Panama. And he probably hits it in the air to left. That's playable. Thames is right there. So Lee is 0 for 3. And the batter now will be Brent Wallace, the left-hand hitting first baseman.
Number 29, Brett Wallace.
For Lee to go 0 for 3, Kuroda really bearing down because Lee came in hitting .357 against him. So here's Wallace. 2 ground balls to third and short. So as a left-hand hitter, although he hasn't gotten a base hit the other way, He has shown us today why he had 33 hits the other way. Going to third and short. Time. With 2 out, Keppinger, who is not a threat to steal. I mean, he might, but he is certainly not much of a threat at all, going back to the numbers we just gave you. Kuroda watching him carefully. And ball 1. Wallace, a very hard-working young ball player, will come to the ballpark very early and look at videotapes. But what's interesting, he is not the average player looking at videotapes involving the opposing pitcher or even himself. He'll look at tapes like Albert Pujols to see how he sets up, or Alex Rodriguez, how he hits with 2 strikes. So young Brad is trying to learn the game and trying to apply the messages. In high school, he actually played against the Astros starting pitcher Bud Norris. He's from Marin, lives in Sonoma. First round pick by the Cardinals, went to Arizona State. 1 ball and 1 strike. No runs, 2 hits for the Astros. No runs, 1 hit for the Dodgers on Father's Day. We're in the 6th. Light breeze blowing out to right field. 1-1. A broken bat, a little one-hopper. Gordon on the bag, and that's the inning. That bat really came apart. So the force play for the 3rd out, and at the end of 5.5 innings, no score. Tough play in the 3rd inning involving Michael Bourne. Loney got the slow roller and just did touch him going by for a big out. Bourne did not argue, but then in the 5th inning he did argue and was kicked out of the game. And talking about being kicked out of the game, Brad Mills came out onto the field to talk to the plate umpire Jeff Nelson. It looked like he was having a very calm discussion, and instead Brad is kicked out. Brad's from Visalia, went to College of the Sequoias. He managed in the Dodger system at Las Vegas for 2 years. He was, among other things, Terry Francona's roommate at Arizona State. He was an All-American at ASU. And Brad also coached under Terry Francona at Boston. He was a pretty good player, but always bothered with bad knees. He had knee replacement last year, and now he's going to be replaced as the manager of the Astros for the remainder of the game. Al Padrique, the bench coach, we assume, is now in charge. And there's Al moving into the skipper's seat. So Brad Mills chased. Meanwhile, Hiroki Kuroda at the plate. One ball and no strikes. Kuroda sacrificed in the third inning. 1 ball and 1 strike. Bud Norris has allowed 1 hit, a bunt in the air, foul, and it's going to drop untouched. A tremendous effort by pitcher Bud Norris. That ball was high enough where you had the feeling it should have been caught, maybe by Corporon, maybe not, but wow, the catcher. And he's apparently all right, but it's going to take a minute before he's ready to pitch again. The bunt was so high, your first thought the catcher will be able to get it. Could be that Carlos lost it in the bright sky. But to see a pitcher travel that far instead of the catcher running 45 feet, you have to wonder what happened. So Nara shakes himself up on a gallant effort. And timeout. They're going to give him time to catch his breath at least. Fully extended. Big man couldn't get there. Doug Brocail, the pitching coach, is out at the mound. And Doug talking to the pitcher. I love Brocail's background. Doug has 5 daughters on this Father's Day. 5 daughters. And he was giving his daughters advice. And he said, don't let the boys fool you. Show them your gun collection. Which would certainly be a father's attitude with 5 girls. Show them you have shovels, he said. I have a daughter and a son-in-law who have 5 daughters. I'm going to have to go and remind them. Show them your gun collection. Way to go, Doug. Well, we're going to wait and see if Bud Norris is capable of hanging in there. And anybody who would make the try he made, you know he's not going to come out unless they have to carry him out. So 1-2 the count to Hiroki Kuroda. No score, bottom of the 6th. The Astros no runs, 2 hits, and the Dodgers no runs, 1 hit. All right, Hiroki back up to the plate. And does a favor by chasing a bad ball and strikes out. Number 5 for right-hander Bud Norris. So 1 away, and D. Gordon coming up, grounded to second and struck out. D 0 for 2. Made that bad throw. It wasn't just a bad throw, it was the way he dropped his arm to throw a sidearm sinker for the error, which is not the way he normally throws. That made Kuroda have a 25-pitch inning, but Kuroda got over that and has cut the pitches down considerably. So 1 out. The Astros look bunt. Ball 1. D tried to bunt. It turned foul, and then he came back and struck out. Gordon batting .311. Fouled away. 1 ball and 1 strike. On this Father's Day, you can just imagine the thoughts of Tom Flash Gordon, the great reliever, Tony Gwynn, the great hitter for San Diego, watching their boys. 2-1 to count to D. 1 out, 6th inning. Dodgers have had 2 men get to second base. Navarro singled, got to second on a sacrifice. Kemp walked and stole second, and that's it. The Astros had second and third in the 2nd inning with 2 out, and in the 3rd with 2 out. And that's really been their threats. 2-2. And a slow roller. Keppinger will get him. Isn't this an amazing game? I don't care how fast you are. It doesn't make any difference. If you hit a ground ball to a second baseman, there is no way, not like that, that you could possibly let him get away. And Keppinger just took his time, knowing that it was all in his favor. So with 2 out, here's your Uribe. One is fly to right, grounded to short. Ball 1. For Norris, he had made 85 pitches through 5 innings. He has 2 out here. And no score. The only hit that Bud has given up was Navarro's single in the 3rd inning. A little low. So to repeat the story, as a 3-year-old who went in with the family to a restaurant and ordered a beer, Bud's doing very well. 3-1 the count to Uribe. Andre Ethier on deck. Norris walked Kemp. It was, I think, almost pitching around him. Ground ball right to Keppinger. So Bud Norris made that tremendous try, shook himself up, came back to battle the way he does, and we have 6 in the books. No score. Bud Norris in quite a pitching duel, and for Hiroki, he started out with his first strikeout of the day with Bourgeois, then rolled along to get Corporon. Then he got Bud Norris for number 3. Clint Barmas bit the dust for number 4, and then Jason Michael replacing Michael Bourne, who was called out for his 5th strikeout, and then Bourne chased from the game. So Kuroda ready to pitch the 7th inning, no score for a guy who has lost 5 in a row. For a team that has lost 5 in a row, they're locked in against the Astros. Chris Johnson, Clint Barmas, and Carlos Corporon coming up in the 7th inning. Johnson got that little pop fly bloop double over the head of James Loney. That's the only hit for him. And the other hit for the Astros, a single by Keppinger into center field in the 6th inning. Fastball fouled off. We'll check Kuroda's pitch count. He had made 96 pitches coming into this inning, and Matt Guerrier now gets up in the Dodger bullpen. Bud Norris, by the way, has made 99 pitches for the Astros, and they're backing him up. Good breaking ball. 1-2. Kuroda with that sharp slider. And fastball in the dirt. 2-2. Sergio Escalona begins to throw, left-hander down in the Astro bullpen. Norris due to bat fourth in the inning. And that's line down the left field line going in the corner. Johnson, who had a bloop double, now has a line drive double to open up matters in the seventh inning.
Shortstop number 12, Clint Barmas.
And it'll be Clint Barmas coming up. You know, the 8 greatest moments in All-Star game history are going head-to-head to determine which is the most memorable of all time. Go to MLB.com/moments. Vote now for your favorite Midsummer Classics, and then tune in to the 2011 All-Star Game, Tuesday, July 12th at 5 p.m. on Fox to find out who won. All right, a big hit for Chris Johnson, his second double. Hit number 3 of Hiroki Kuroda. Barmas, Corporon, and then we'll see about Norris. No score. Barmas has walked and struck out. Clint 0 for 1. And hits a fly ball into left center. Kemp has to go a long way to get it. Tagging up and holding on is Johnson. Wonderful play by Matt Kemp. He was actually shading Barmas slightly to right center. He not only had to go back to left center to get it, he then had to get rid of the ball in a hurry, and he did just that. There's that long run in the park, the grab, and then the quick throw. So a wonderful play defensively by Matt Kemp. 1 out. And now here's Carlos Corporon, who has not looked like any kind of a hitter in the 3 games, in the sense he looked very, very rusty. However, he's a threat with a runner at second and 1 out. And ball 1. We also were wondering why Bud Norris had to almost kill himself to try and catch a bunt that was foul. And we have the answer on videotape. Corporon apparently lost it. He just stayed at home plate. He had no idea, and that's why Norris almost KO'd himself. It's tough. Catcher wearing that bird cage, and if you don't get the jump right away, but that could have been caught to save Norris a lot. Of course, Norris was so visibly affected that he just got Gordon and Uribe on ground balls, so it didn't really slow him down. And Bud is out on deck. No score. Astros, no runs, 3 hits. This is the 3rd time now they've had a chance with at least 1 man in scoring position, and it would really be the 5th man in scoring position in 6 1/3 innings. But they have been unable to come up with a hit. Remember, we were talking in this series before today that the Astros were doing very well with runners in scoring position, but so far not today. Ground ball, big foul ball. 1-2. We mentioned in the series the Astros were hitting .320 with runners in scoring position, and the Dodgers .200. The Astros have had opportunities, 2nd and 3rd, 2 out in the 2nd, 2nd and 3rd, 2 out in the 3rd. Now a leadoff double by Johnson, but he's still at second base. 1-2 to Corporon. Two and two. So Hiroki Kuroda has gone over the 100 pitch mark, 106. Two and two. Top of the seventh, no score. Chris Johnson at second base. Interesting for Johnson. When the Dodgers were in Houston, he was 0 for 10 against them. In the 3-game series here, he is 6 for 12. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Fouled away. Al Padrique, the bench coach, is in charge of the team. Brad Mills kicked out of the ball game. I guess Brad just brought up that strike 3 on Michael Bourne, I guess. So Padrique running things, and Corporon, the boy from Puerto Rico, waiting. 2-2 the count to Carlos. Remember, we told you about Corporon, the 2-week-old baby who had heart surgery after it was 1 week old, and he had to leave the baby in Oklahoma City with his wife. He was called up to the big leagues, and he has a big heart and a lot of prayers on this Father's Day for that 2-week-old baby. 2-2. Light breeze blowing to right field, and down goes Corporon. I will say one thing, Brad Mills has given him plenty of opportunity, so much so, and he has looked so ineffective with the bat, to be honest. You wonder what happened to the other catcher, Tolles. But then when you look up Tolles, he's just hitting 198, but he does have 3 home runs. Matt Downs will now be coming up to bat. So Tolles is paying a toll to watch. Got to be tough if you're told. You know, you're saying, okay, Corporon, sure, he's here, etc. But when do I get a lick? Matt Downs, who is coming up, was originally drafted by the Giants out of the University of Alabama. He was a star at Alabama. This year, he has a half a dozen pinch hits and 5 RBIs as a pinch hitter. The Astros claimed him last year, late in August, off waivers from the Giants. 6'2", 190, 27 years old. So, our heartiest congratulations to Bud Norris. A magnificent effort to no avail unless Downs does something. So the runner, a leadoff double, and 2 outs later, he's still out there. So Downs hitting for Norris. So is it going to be a third time that the Astros are going to leave a runner in scoring position? Twice second and third, and now here with 2 out. 0-1 to Matt. Downs appeared as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning last night and hit into a force play. So a great battle between Norris and Kuroda. Push against shove, and we're in the 7th inning, no score. The Astros have only been shut out twice this year. Pop fly, Uribe is there. So for Bud Norris and the Astros, they have to be thoroughly frustrated. For Hiroki Kuroda and the Dodgers, a huge sigh of relief. And we're heading to the bottom of the 7th, no score. Neither starting pitcher deserves to lose. Bud Norris is now out of it. And look at the numbers he's put up. A one-hitter for 6 innings, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Kuroda's pitching well, but he was outpitched by Norris. But when it all adds up, it's no score. And for Norris and the Astros, far more frustrated than Kuroda and the Dodgers. They have left 5 men in scoring position. Instead, they've been shut out. Meanwhile, Hiroki's been working hard. He's now made 110 pitches. For Bud Norris, his tough effort is now handed over to Sergio Escalona. He's from Venezuela and was originally signed as a free agent by the Phillies. He liked to play the outfield when he was a kid. Big curveball for a strike. He has fastball, curve, and change. And if he's on his game, he should get a lot of ground balls. He has a good 2-seamer. There's one of them. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Astros made a deal with the Phillies. Albert Cartwright went to Philadelphia, and they acquired Escalona. 1-1. Ethier chasing that sinker. 1-2. When Escalona was 20 years old, signed with the Phillies, and then spent the next 3 years pitching in the Venezuelan Summer League. 1-2 to Andre. 2-2. Escalona made it to the Phillies briefly in 2009, and now this year with the Astros. Little breaking ball away. 3-2. They have the right-hander Wilton Lopez in the bullpen, so we'll see. Maybe Escalona's only going to pitch to Ethier. 3-2. Slow and missed for ball 4. So left-handers were hitting less than 100 against Escalona. They were 2 for 21. So they bring him in expressly to get Ethier, and he walks in. So under the heading of the best laid plans of mice and men, Ethier is on base, and the batter is Matt Kemp. No movement out of the Astro dugout. Kemp is hitting .356 against left-handers. Lopez down in the bullpen, probably thinking, I wonder why I'm up. Fastball and a fly ball to center. Bourgeois there. So Kemp first ball swinging, 1 out. Now the other left-hander, James Loney, coming up.
Coming to the plate, first base.
No runs, 3 hits for the Astros. No runs, 1 hit for the Dodgers. 1 lone solitary single, and that was the ball hit by Deanna Navarro in the 3rd inning. And the outs have been very much routine. The Astros have not had to make, one of those brilliant defensive plays. Nope. Been pretty much easy outs. Maybe the best or hardest defensive play the Dodgers had was the ball that Kemp ran down to make the catch and then kept Johnson at second base. 0-1. Loney has struck out twice, but both times were against Bud Norris. Against left-handers, he's hitting $1.50. 0-1. That's in there. Light breeze blowing out to right field. Sergio Escalona. He'll be 27 in August. About 170 pounds, stands 6 feet. 0-2. And that's going to be a base hit. So the left-hand hitters who normally go out are on base instead. The lefties were 2 for 21, and Ethier walked and Loney singled. So the best laid plans indeed 2 on, 1 out, and the batter will be Casey Blake. Al Padrique is now going out to the mound, and the Dodgers with Blake, Thames, right-hand batters due up, and it looks like Al will bring in Wilton Lopez. So a very disappointed left-hander, Sergio Escalona. Out he goes. He's got 1 out. That was Kemp on the fly ball. 2 on, and Wilton Lopez coming in, and we'll be back. Friday night, 9th inning, error by Brett Wallace. Miles struck out, and that brought up Andre Ethier against Brett Myers, and Andre hit one over the center field wall for a home run. That was the last time the Dodgers scored. They were shut out 7-0 last night. They have now gone 15 innings without a run. They haven't been shut out in 2 straight since April of last year. So let's see what they do here. The Dodgers really in their first threat after the Astros had 3 threats and came up empty each time. So Wilton Lopez working on Blake, and that's a strike. Lopez charged with a big responsibility here. Wilton is out of Nicaragua, lives in Leon, and was originally drafted by the Yankees. 1-1. He's a big guy, 200-pounder and 6 feet. Pitched sparingly with the Yankees before being released. He had not played actually for 2 years and signed with the Padres. Ground ball to third. They'll go to second for 1. They'll go to first. Double play. So Casey Blake around the horn, double play. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. And at the end of 7, no score. Dodger Baseball on Prime Ticket is brought to you by Chase. Deposit checks from your smartphone with quick deposit. Take a step forward and chase what matters. Boy, it is push against shove here at Dodger Stadium as the Dodgers and the Astros putting on a tough show. No runs, 3 hits for the Astros against Hiroki Kuroda. He's out of the game now. No runs, 2 hits for the Dodgers against Bud Norris, and he's out of there. Norris allowed 1 hit. Tony Gwynn Jr. is now in left field, and Matt Guerrier on the mound. Guerrier pitched the 7th inning last night, right back in action today. Jason Michael will lead it off. Ball 1. Michael replaced the starting center fielder, Michael Bourne, who was kicked out of the game after having been called out on strikes. That's a strike. 1-1 the count. Jason Michaels out of Tampa, Florida. Matt Guerrier out of Louisiana. 1-1. Little low ball 2-1 the count. And a little foul ball out of play. Jason Michaels 2 for 4 in his last 4 pinch hitting appearances. That's basically been his job. Hitting 193 with a home run, 3 runs batted in, and hits a fly ball to center. It's playable. Matt Kemp is right there. 1 away. You know, Tuesday, the Dodgers and Tigers at 7:10. You'll receive your very own Dodger Beach Towel presented by Time Warner Cable. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions or call 866-DODGERS. 1 out in the 8th. Bourgeois struck out, reached on an error, flied to center. The speedster hitting .354. Well, the Tigers are getting ready to come here. They polished off the Rockies 9-1 on the heels of Verlander's 9th win, a complete Game 4 hitter at Colorado. 0-1. Another strike. Detroit's other big star, the big cat, Miguel Cabrera, hit his 14th home run, and the Tigers will be here tomorrow. No score, 8th inning here. Ground ball to short. Gordon waits for the hop, throws in the dirt, on his knees for the save is Loney. Here's the Tiger pitching against the Dodgers. Brad Penny, of all people. Yep, he's going to open it up against Clayton Kershaw. Max Scherzer will go against Chad Billingsley. Rick Porcello will go against Ted Lilly. That starts tomorrow night, Monday and Tuesday nights. Wednesday, remember, is a 12:10 game. 2 out in the 8th inning, and the batter, Jeff Keppinger. Ball 1. Looking ahead, the Dodgers making a double switch, and the left fielder is due to lead it off. So figuring Gwynn goes into Tim's spot, and Guerrier would bat 9th. Ground ball to Gordon. So a 1-2-3 inning for Matt Guerrier, and we're heading for the bottom of the 8th inning. No score. ball game before 44,665 celebrating Father's Day with us. Tony Gwynn, who received the opening toss from his dad. Dee Gordon received the opening toss from his father, Tom. And now they've been both in the game. And a strike. With 2 on and 1 out, remember Lopez came in and got the double play from Blake. Now he almost hit Chris, almost got Tony on the leg. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hitting .218 with 6 RBIs. Johnson plays on the edge of the grass in case of a bunt. A slicing fly ball, and coming in a hurry to pick it off is Bourgeois. So when they had 1 rabbit go out, there's Tony reacting, his son losing a base hit to the speedy center fielder. And of course, whether it's Michael Bourne or Jason Bourgeois, they got somebody out there to really cover a lot of ground. And Bourgeois got the job done. 1 away here in the 8th inning. The batter is Deanna Navarro. Trent Olchin comes out on deck, and down in the Dodger bullpen, Javi Guerra begins to warm up. Navarro, the switch hitting catcher, single to center in the 3rd inning, grounded out in the 5th. The 1 out, 8th inning, no score, as we said as kids, zip to zip. When the Astros bat in the 9th, they'll have Carlos Lee, Brett Wallace, and Chris Johnson. Fastball, slider, and changeup with Wilton Lopez. 2-0 the count, too much time. Though Navarro backs out. Last year, left-hand hitters hit .284 against Lopez. Right-handers .245. And a shot to right center field and deep. This one has a chance. It is gone. A home run by Deanna Navarro of all people, and the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead. For Navarro, his first home run. And for Wilton Lopez, with an ERA of 2, that's the first home run he's allowed this year. Oh, you want to talk about a long shot. So Navarro, with that home run, $22,000 raised to support prostate cancer research. To make a donation, call 800-79-A-CURE or go to www.pcf.org. Deanna Navarro hitting 1 out for his first home run against a pitcher who had not given up a home run. Baseball is a marvelous game. So it's 1-0 Dodgers. And here's Trent Olchin batting for Guerrier. Ball 1. So Deanna Navarro, in looking back, he had 1 home run for the Devil Rays last year. 1. He did have as many as 8 2 years ago. So quickly, Olchin rolls out, 2 down, and the batter will be Dee Gordon. The last home run by Deanna Navarro was against the New York Mets last year. So what a huge home run that is. And the batter, Dee Gordon, grounded out twice, struck out 0 for 3, off-speed breaking ball for a strike. We'll repeat. The Astros will have Lee, Wallace, and Johnson in the 9th inning. The bunt. Down to get it. The hurry throw just in time. And a nice play by Brett Wallace at the other end of it. So Gordon is thrown out trying to bunt. However, the moment belongs to Gianna Navarro, and at the end of 8, 1-0 Dodgers. Take it into the 9th inning like a newborn baby, leading the Astros 1-0. The Dodgers now will bring in HOU to be their third pitcher. Kuroda went 7, allowed 3 hits and no runs. Guerrier retired the side in order in the 8th, and now HOU has the ball. Meanwhile, Wilton Lopez giving up the run on the home run, and that's the difference in the game. The Dodgers make a change on the infield. Jamie Carroll takes over at second base for Juan Uribe. So Carroll, if there is a bottom of the 9th, Carroll would bat in Uribe's spot, number 2. And HOU bats 9th. Carlos Lee had one huge opportunity to get the Astros out in front. He had flied to right, flied to left, but in the 3rd inning, he had runners at second and third and 2 out and popped it up to second baseman Uribe. The Astros have had 3 chances to get on the board, and they failed each time. Second and third in the 2nd inning, and the catcher Corporon struck out. Second and third in the 3rd inning, and Lee popped up. A leadoff double with nobody out in the 7th, and they left Johnson. 2-1 to count to Carlos Lee. HOU, who had Tommy John surgery out of Denton, Texas, working on Carlos Lee. 2-1. Ground ball to third. Nice big hop for Blake. 1 away. For the Astros, it's rather remarkable for a club that struggled, came in here 20 games under 500. They'd only been shut out twice this year, and the only 2 shutouts turned in against them was in Houston. They had not been shut out all year. So 1 out in the 9th, and here's Brett Wallace. Grounded to third, grounded to short. Hit into a force play at short, so he's gone the other way, which, as we've mentioned, has been his strength. 33 hits going in the opposite field. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Hong-Chi Kuo just activated today, loosening up. Ramon Troncoso has been sent back. 1-0. 1-1 to Wallace. Wallace, who's had a lot of success going after the first pitch, but he came up empty. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's a strike. 1-2 to Brett. I told you Wallace came into this series leading the National League hitting at night, 366. Javi Guerra will be 26 in October. Little dribbler, tough play. Charged by Blake, bare hand throw, got him. Now that's the play that Casey Blake worried about with the sore neck. That's the play where the neck really killed him so that he had to have a cortisone shot. But this time he was called upon and made the play. Bare hand pickup, off balance throw, just beat Wallace. So 4 times Wallace goes the other way and comes up 0 for 4. So now the Astros are down to their last out, and that would be Chris Johnson, who has a couple of doubles. He's 2 for 3. And just to give Brad Mills such a bad time after being frustrated in the 2nd and 3rd innings, Johnson doubled to open up the 7th, and they couldn't even move him over. 1-0 Dodgers, 2 out in the 9th. 1-1. Guerra hits 92 on the gun. Javi's an even 6, about 205 pounds. Basically, fastball, slider, curve, and changeup. Clint Barm is on deck. Remember, we told you that Chris Johnson at home in 3 games was 0 for 10 against the Dodgers. And he's had a half a dozen hits in the 3-game series here. So he's found a home. Batting .247. And a strike. So the Astros now down to their last strike. And a lot of the folks in the ballpark now standing up, trying to cheer Guerra, trying to see the Dodgers snap a 5-game losing streak and go face the Tigers tomorrow night. 2-2. Everybody up. And a ground ball to Gordon. The throw to first, and that's it. The Dodgers salvage 1. Snap a 5-game losing streak. And Dioner Navarro comes up with his first home run as a Dodger, and it's enough to beat Houston. So Kuroda, Guerrier, and Guerra. And Guerrier was the pitcher of record when the home run was hit. And the home run was hit to give the Dodgers the victory. And a total of $22,000 raised in our game for prostate cancer research. To make a donation, call 800-798-CURE or go online to www.pcf.org. Couple of scores before we leave you. The A's beat the Giants 2-1 to sweep the Giants in a 3-game series. The Giants did not get a hit with a runner in scoring position in the entire series. And they're in the 9th inning. White Sox lead the Diamondbacks 8-2. Stay tuned for Dodgers Live coming up next. Good afternoon, everybody.